It don't stop. Bands running up, he got enough to pay the cows. My team don't stop, got the game on lock. Baby girl, make it drop. Let me see what you about.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Who's a bad bitch?
Come and throw it on the real.
Frank's a bad bitch.
We on the shot?
Yeah, let me just check this real quick. Hey everyone, my name is Brian Uribe,
I'm Dan Guining, and we're here with Konsole Consulting.
and today we have our amazing guest.
Frank Fiol, life coach extraordinaire.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Extraordinaire. I like it. High energy, kick it off strong.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Frank's the man. So, Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
I'm a life coach. I work primarily with creative entrepreneurs, people that are looking to monetize their creative passions that are currently like 9-to-5 professionals. I also work with men like that are trying to get a new identity past whatever their past traumas are. And I also work with individuals that are in relationships that are trying to leverage intimacy as well as togetherness as well as passion.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, that's dope. And now you told us what you do. Let's take a step back. Why do you do it? Why did you decide to become a life coach? I know you had a successful career prior to that, too.
Sure, yeah.
You want to touch on?
I was about 15, 16 years in pharma, primarily in supply chain. I did that for much years. It was something that was honestly just kind of diametrically opposed to what I believed in.
You got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Check.
You gotta
So I did that.
bro.
I did that. I got to check for a long time. And I think subconsciously was probably just eating away at my soul a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think just when you're in certain industries and you kind of understand the bottom line, it's a little bit, you feel a little inauthentic. If that's because if you're about that life, that's different. You know what I mean. But I knew for a long time that I wasn't, and of course I was doing it to. I was moving up the corporate ladder, and I was doing what I had to do. But as far as my purpose, I definitely wasn't listening to that voice. So I worked for several pharmaceutical companies over the years, and the reason I became a life coach is I had just finished going through a pretty traumatic divorce. At this point, and there was a series of events that happened in my life. One being, a lot of these things we create ourselves.
Yeah.
One being a DUI that I had received. Okay, so I got a DUI when I was living in Pennsylvania. We had just come home from. I was just coming home from a fellow employee's going away party.
Yeah.
And I was leaving, and I got pulled over, and I was like right there. I was like 1.0. So they didn't take my license away, but they did lock me up that night. So I got locked up that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to sit down for 24 hours.
Yeah, so sit down. Yeah. And I had a lot of time to kind of think about everything that I was doing, everything that was going on in my life. So that was, I kept on imagining my kids seeing me, even if it was a night in jail. So I kept on imagining that picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a big a wake-up call for me. But what I didn't realize is that life wasn't done with me yet.
Okay.
And shortly after that, I was working for a pharmaceutical company as well, and I was let go of that company. And so when I was let go of that company, due to restructuring, what ended up happening is that my identity started to crumble more and more. So who I thought I was, like this pharmaceutical guy that had a family and was just kind of this corporate dad, but was working within a company that was working within an industry that I was, like I said, diametrically opposed to, because I'm really a holistic guy, and at heart.
Yeah.
It's a little by little. And then the third thing that happened to me, which was kind of the kicker.
The trifecta.
Yeah, the third thing that happened to me.
Comes in threes, bro.
Yeah, the third thing that happened to me was when I actually, and this is going to be, full disclosure here.
Absolutely.
Okay, married to my wife, my now ex-wife for over 20 years, right? So we were together, high school sweethearts, 4 kids. and I ended up finding out she was cheating on me.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
man.
So
Damn.
that was the
Shame.
dissolution of my marriage. And of course, like, fast forward to 2.5 years later now, we're actually good friends.
Yeah.
After a lot of the dark night of the soul,
Yeah.
a lot of people are very familiar with, that happened during that time. So it was like those 3 events happened, and I was living in Pennsylvania because of the job transfer, funny enough. And then I ended up working for another pharmaceutical company after that, for a brief period of time. But during that time, those 2 years, I had a couple of epiphanies. One was that I really needed to try to let go of the reins of control to what the universe has for me. That's one of the things, and the very linear way of modern thinking and Darwinistic thinking of the past 20th century, it really wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
The hierarchical kind of structure, the pyramid kind of way of thinking of dog eat dog. And I know that we were kind of moving into a different paradigm nowadays, even with corporations and companies, that we're moving into more of a quantum paradigm where things are outside of that linear structure, and it's more quantum ideas, things that are out in the cloud, the different possibilities. So there's different ways of looking at, and I think we're in that kind of in-between stage nowadays, where we're kind of letting go of that old paradigm, and all this new information is coming in. It's kind of coming into a place where we all have access to the same things.
Absolutely.
So there's all these different possibilities. So I kind of was like, I can't do this thing anymore. Number one, because I'm opposed to like a lot of what it's about, the bottom line. And secondly, I kind of want to just follow my own path. What is it that, because all that stuff, like, it stripped away my identity. It stripped away my identity as a husband. So everything that was holding on to, whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, the big spirit, was like, dude, that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The identities, the labels, what you're trying to achieve doesn't matter. Just follow your heart. It took me a while to get there, because you have to give yourself some time to grieve for a lot of these things. And when I was going through it, it was a period of a lot of solitude and quiet and introspection.
Yeah.
And what it did for me is I did a lot of meditation during that time. I got in tune with spirituality. I kind of healed a lot of relationships in my life because of how controlling I was. So I was able to see what I had done and I took steps forward. And there was during that time that I said, a friend had reached out to me, and I had saved the message on the phone. It was a friend who was a life coach. And she was like, do you want to get into this program? I looked into it. I went to an observation. I liked it, but I didn't call her back for about a year. And then after a year, I remember being in my room when I was in Pennsylvania. My kids were already living in a different state, and I was pretty down because kids were living in a different state, and everything that I knew to be true was not true anymore. So I said, okay, I could either put this down payment on this thing and just take a shot and see what it is.
Yeah.
So really what it was, the life coaching going and taking this program, and shout out to Accomplishment Coaching. I went to Accomplishment Coaching. Great.
Awesome plug.
Great life.
Drop a link right there.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
Great.
Affiliate link. Call them up.
Yeah.
Great life coaching program. I jumped in, and I jumped in more like, it was more like playing the game instead of trying to figure out what the next right step was.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So just being in it to win it. Because you're gonna take swings regardless, and there's gonna be things you're gonna try, and you might get one good thing out of it, but it's not what you expected. But it's as long as you're playing, it's like a decent baseball player is successful 30% of the time. Right. So he's batting 300. That's a good baseball player, but 70 some of the other percent,
absolutely,
he's striking out, or so it's about playing the game. So that and that's one of the reasons aligned with my purpose, which is I love being of service to people. I love to create tools around subconscious programming, self-limiting beliefs. So I love creating tools around that. I love to engage in people and try to be introspective, and also notice what they're getting from, and notice their automatic behaviors, and just to help people kind of empower themselves.
Yeah.
And I've always been that for my kids. I've always been that to my friends. So it was a natural progression. And those are kind of the reasons why.
So want to make sure, like, try and encapsulate it and make sure we got that right. So it sounds like your why is that you like serving and being of help, and you get joy out of seeing other people overcome their self-imposed limits or societal limits that really are fictitious, because who's society? Like who's actually running society, right? It's a bunch of preconceived notions that society and just people have said this is not good. And when you do the opposite of that, you typically find extreme success.
Right, and I agree with that exactly. I mean, the thing for me was like, it also pushes me to model my own self-love. You know, because if I want to be, otherwise you become a martyr. You become somebody that helps people, but that's not helping themselves. Right?
Absolutely.
So
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So the main thing that I get out of this is I'm helping people, but I'm not helping people to be somebody like I'm helping you, like, because that for me that's an egotistical kind of way of looking at. A lot of people, I think that they're doing it, and they're doing it maybe to there's certainly people that are on that path. And that's not judging them, but sometimes in the beginning of your path, it happened to me where it becomes spiritual ego, where you're like, I know this and this and this stuff, and this can help you, so let me show you how to help you. I believe we all hold the answers inside, and I think a good life coach is just pointing to different blind spots. You know what I mean? And just making you aware of it. They may be wrong, they may be right, but it's something that they're reflecting back to you. And then from there, from those blind spots, you could actually build on where, the goals that you want to hit, and how those blind spots actually affecting those automatic behaviors that we don't notice, how those blind spots actually be affecting your ultimate goals. You know what I mean?
That's really a powerful way to put it. Like, I would even say your why is, you want to help people see their blind spots. Like, that could be the whole summary right there. Right. And I think that hits the nail right on the head. Yeah. And I think that's very diverse from what a lot of coaches come in saying, that they're going to help you overcome some stuff. Like, they're going to tell you how to do it. They're going to give you insight to do it. What you're saying that I'm hearing that's really different is that you're going to just allow yourself to be a reflection point for them. Right. And then mirror back so they can see the angles of themselves that they're overlooking. Caught up in all the societal bullshit and nonsense. It's just kind of
because we are our own genius. We are all geniuses. And it's somebody, we have our own particular brand of genius. We have our own particular strand of source, energy. So it's a signature in this world. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing, at least like out of the engagements that we've had in a life coaching capacity that's been really powerful, is it is like being that mirror. Like, no, you've got it. You're just not looking at it right now. But I think that even moving past that, where some of my friends that have spoken to you, they kind of walk away like, wow, like, shit, that was really powerful. And I feel like in a lot of instances, it's kind of letting the person that's being coached kind of take away their vulnerabilities. But in taking away their vulnerabilities, you're reflecting the truth for them. And in a lot of instances, they'll walk away seeing, wow, I'm actually a superhero. Like, I had this all figured out. Right. I just couldn't see it because I'm in my mind. I'm thinking about what mom, what dad, what partner, whatever issue, like work. I'm thinking about what everybody else is saying, but I'm not really seeing what it is. And in some instances, it may be the opposite. And it may just be some toxic behavior that people just aren't addressing. It's like, bro, it's a problem. Don't brush it under the rug.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then one of the main things that that I definitely push forward is if you're noticing that there's certain issues, because there's a lot of overlap between therapy and life coaching. And one of the main things is that if there are emotional issues, or if the client kind of intimates or is letting me know that he may be having some suicidal thoughts, automatically that goes to, okay, the conversation stops right there, and ethically I'm forced to, go ahead and making sure that he's safe, and if he's not safe, making sure that I'm taking the appropriate actions in order to, either call 911, or actually refer him to a therapist. You know what I mean? Yeah. If it's not a suicidal situation, but it is is an emotional situation that actually needs therapeutic. Because what a life coach does is help you move towards your goals and help you notice what's getting in the way, and create things. create structures, create projects, and create things that are there to partner with you to hit those goals. So that it's more of a forward-thinking thing. And there is overlap with therapy where there's some issues there might be minor emotional issues, and there are tools that I use for certain emotions. Dealing with emotions, not actually healing trauma, though. That is the therapeutic realm. Healing trauma. So life coaching and therapy can go perfect hand in hand.
Gotcha.
So like, because we're all human beings, we all have our, emotional things that we've gone through in the past. I mean, the first 7 years of your life is what impacts who you become as an adult. Whatever you downloaded from your environment and for your parents, etc.
It sounds like therapy is more focused on emotional trauma and past traumatic events, and trauma doesn't have to be that you saw somebody get shot in front of you. It could just be that you never got hugged as a child, and
right.
It's affecting your relationships now.
Right.
And kind of where coaching comes in is like, these things are going and I'm struggling with them and I don't know why. And getting that reflection and also like being put and kind of equipped with some of these frameworks, these tools to say, hey, like, let's do these steps and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And kind of, again, I kind of correlate it to like training wheels.
Right.
Like it's kind of like a mix of like, it is a mirror, but it's also training wheels, because it's like, well, I can't do it for you, but I'm going to work with you so we can together find what the solution is.
Right. And it's like, it's almost like we're going to work together so you find what the solution is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 So
because then what ends up happening is we become a consultant, and we're not consultants. We're not an expert in a certain field. What we are is we're an expert in coaching, but we're not there to provide advice in any way. Yeah. It's really building the relationship and keeping that person accountable to what they committed to, what they said they were going to do.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are not consultants, we are coaches. That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a clear distinction there, because if I was there, there could be, and that's the automatic thing. So I could be a consultant if, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm knowledgeable about and I want to help somebody. Yeah, that if I'm going to brand myself that way, that's fine, because that's what they're getting. They're getting a consultant. But if I'm on a coaching call with a client and I'm giving them advice based on my opinion or my expertise, then I'm not being a coach anymore. So that this distinction is clearly made with clients. So the first thing is a confidentiality agreement with the client, letting them know everything is shared between me and the client, us only, and that's governed by, ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation standards, letting them know up front that. And then the second thing is the distinction between consulting, therapy, and coaching. So those things are business that needs to get out of the way in the very beginning, so that there's a session, so the client is clearly aware. And then it's coaching sessions are very they're very hopefully you could have both, but really hopefully the real purpose of it is to move certain things forward. So the coaching calls, you should always come with a coaching request on the call. So this way you use that amount of time as effectively and efficiently as possible, because you want to just bring power with speed to their processes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like kickstart the process.
Yeah,
throw some gasoline on the fire.
Exactly.
That they already have brewing.
I think coaching is such an interesting field, and just it's so interesting because it's something so powerful that so many people could use. There isn't enough awareness around it. People don't know that you guys exist. And there's so many people that could actually benefit from it that they're just kind of walking around, no offense to anybody, but broken, in some aspect. And it's not a bad thing. We all have our skeletons in the closet, right? But, like this kind of information and access to information, or just access to some of the tools, frameworks, reflexivity that you guys could provide is super powerful for people that have been going through things that's like, it's not necessarily a therapist.
Right.
A therapist can't really address it.
Right.
It's you not wanting to face XYZ. Right? So I think that's really, really powerful. So just kind of want to keep the conversation going. And like in being a life coach, what are some of the challenges you face in just like, growing your practice, building a book of clientele, testimonial success stories? I
think that some of the challenges that I face is building that pipeline sometimes, because it's a very niche industry, and it's to create a funnel, to create something that is constantly kind of renovating its own self, and it's building its own self. You have to build some structures. I'm really more of an organic guy, so I'm really I go out networking events, meet people, and be with them. And then if I see something that I think could be powerful for them, I offer it to them. And that's really how I've gotten my clients, or referrals to people that know me, that I've coached them. So that's kind of really, I've taken an organic approach, and I really want to take kind of a digitally organic approach. So there's some strategies on LinkedIn that I'm gonna be utilizing soon, with some companies that actually offer organic LinkedIn consulting advice, as well as kind of where they help you build an organic client base, because that's really what I want to build. Because the main thing for me is I'm not there to sell anything. It's almost like if I see something in somebody that I know, that I offer it to them. It's like an offering. And what I'm offering is something that is extremely powerful, you know what I mean, for their own life, you know what I mean? So that's basically, it's basically identifying kind of a reflection or a blind spot, and actually asking for permission to be coached in any given moment. So when I meet somebody, I always give them that opportunity to, I'll offer them, and then if they say no, that's okay. You know what I mean? Because it's really, you gotta want to be coached. So it's
you can't force somebody to be coached,
exactly.
Right?
So it's like, that's what I mean about the selling thing. It's not like, I'm trying to. It's more like, because then you're just barking up the wrong tree. There's a bunch of trees out there. There's like wonderful. There's people that are looking for it. So it's like those people. That's what I'm focused on. The people that are actually looking to be coached and looking to move their projects or their life forward.
So could we touch on some of the stuff you're talking about LinkedIn and like the social aspect of your approach? Could you talk a little bit just about so two things? One, if you could touch on your current utilization of LinkedIn, how you utilize it and what you're doing on the platform, and then two, how you position yourself on LinkedIn.
Okay, so I think right now I'm in the infancy of kind of positioning myself digitally, because a lot of my clients, like I said, have been word of mouth referrals. And so I'm kind of starting to build my practice. I want to build my practice. I want to have more visibility. So one of the things that, as far as the LinkedIn strategy, I saw a couple of, like I said, I saw a company on LinkedIn where they were offering some kind of organic LinkedIn, like a marketing strategy. So I was looking at that. I watched they had posted a video, and I kind of like what they said. And I'm sorry, I can't remember verbatim.
Oh, please.
That, and then my current LinkedIn strategy really is just reaching out to my network. That really has just been, and getting referrals like that.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
So just
is that like in-mail messages? Or?
Yes, like in-mail messages. Yeah, so I'll send them an in-mail message like that. That's the main way of contacting them. And the other thing that I notice is that I get a lot of these coaching consultants that they reach out to me on LinkedIn. They see that I'm a coach, they reach out to me, and it's a very generic kind of
trying to coach you on coaching.
Trying to get me. I can help.
Coach.
Yeah, I help coaches get clients.
Coach needs a coach.
Yeah, I help coaches get clients, and I think it's great. But I think there's something to be said about sending a generic email, which is why I was thinking about the more organic outreach, because you could tell it's a generic email that they're sending.
So I have a couple questions, right? So, in the world of business, and just in society as a whole, like as a populace, we look at sales sometimes as if it's like a bad word. It's like, ill, I'm not going to sell, So definitely want to make sure, like I could at least just quantify how you perceive some of it, right? Because organic versus non-organic, which is paid, I mean...
What does that mean?
Yeah, like, so like if you pay somebody to do it, then it's still paid, right? So my question for you is just so I can understand, what types of messages are you sending to these people? And I'll preface that with this statement that kind of what I said earlier, people just don't know about coaching. Right. Like there is just no awareness. So hitting Dan up, hey dude, want to get coached, or whatever your message may be, right? Like, well, that may not resonate because I'm like, what the fuck I need you for, bro? I don't play on a baseball team,
right.
Like, and like, and not to devalue what you do. I understand what you do. We've done this before, right? We've done sessions, but before I met you, I was like, what the hell is that, bro?
Right.
I'm doing coaching, and what is this? And I did it. I'm like, this is good,
right?
Yeah,
right. So I guess that's my question. So let me just like structure it. So first one is, what do you quantify as organic outreach?
What I quantify as organic outreach is creating messages tailored to specific groups or individuals that I think could be of value for them. So tailoring something for them specifically, so whether it be through an email, if I meet somebody and I get a referral, I'll contact them and I'll just basically let them know that somebody referred me to you and basically said that you might be a perfect candidate for some coach, and then I'll explain what I do. So it's very organic in the sense. So I'm giving them all the data, and I'm letting them know what I do and what I offer, and that I'm trying to make that connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
so I definitely want to jump in there, and Dan's heard my thoughts on emails and and just outreach copy, just sales copy as a whole. I think most of it sucks. It's really bad. And I think what inevitably ends up happening is that we try to be hyper formal, and that's not right for everybody's brand. If you're a banker, be formal.
Right.
I'm putting my money with you,
right?
But you're a coach. So my question for you, and I'm not asking you to if you don't recite it verbatim because I'm not expecting you to, but if you could just kind of walk us through a sample of what an email would look like. So is it like a dear XYZ, or is it a hey, is it a hello, and then just what do the first sentences look like?
Sure.
Again,
could I actually get my
cutter.
phone, because I actually have a little bit of a template that I use. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to.
Which one?
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
This way you can get a kind of a clue, because
and again, guys,
I tailor this towards different people based on the referral.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is just generic template.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To start the conversation.
And again, guys, Dan and I have these conversations really often. I don't know if we've spoke. Oh, we did. We spoke about this with Lauren.
We touched on it.
Yeah, we touched on it. I hate how some people email me.
I hate how everybody emails me just about, except for the Yofi emails. This is sick.
Oh, okay, yeah. And the console ones.
Console ones and all that.
Yeah. But I hate it because it's I'm not responding to you. I had a guy today. I read it this morning. I don't even know. Oh, he's a recruiter.
Nice.
I'm like, all right, so dude, you're barking up the wrong tree first. Second, you send me a LinkedIn message that on my phone is I have to scroll.
It's like a wall of text.
Yeah, it's all right, Mr. Man. And then he starts with telling me about him. It's I don't know you.
Right.
Quite possibly don't care to know you.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely now. Definitely
don't I read it
now.
and I responded out of respect because
you're a very respectful
he took
person.
5 minutes to I could tell copying and pasting it probably took him 30 seconds, because
someone sends me
text.
a message like that. It's a wall of text. It's clearly they just put my name at the top.
Oh, 100%.
I go unfriend you. I remove you from my network.
I just put them into my. I'll let them live in the network, and I'll just be like, hey, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Because I don't want you touching my contacts and messaging them that wild shit.
Oh, facts, yeah.
Crazy.
Interesting. I haven't thought about it that way.
Yeah, I don't want that.
So let's see.
And I'm like, dude, I responded. I'm like, dude, not interested in this. But if you have any consulting contracts that you're working on, then send them my way. If it makes sense, we'll bid.
Flip the script.
Yeah, otherwise, have fun, sitting in my connections. We're never gonna engage, bro.
Please like and comment. Do not message.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just looking for this template.
Yeah, man, don't kill yourself. I mean, if you want to just talk about the gist of it.
Yeah, just a sample.
Sure.
And
so something I would say
before you go, the goal is to be constructive. So we may break it down. I may break it down a little bit.
So sure, yeah. So something very simple. As I'll say, hi, this is Frank Fiol from Connie's referral. Please let me know if you had any experience with life coaching at all. So that if they've already, like if it's already set up a warm referral, you know, I ask them that. They'll let me know.
If somebody introduced you.
Right, exactly. And then so if they say, you know, I don't have any experience with life coaching, I'll kind of break it down and I tell them like this is what life coaching is in a nutshell, because I want to present to them what it is, see if they're, you know, if this is, even though they're a warm referral, to see if this is something they'd be interested in. So I'll kind of tell them a life coach acts as a mirror that reflects patterns to a client to help them make them more aware of what they're doing in their lives, in particular patterns that are in their blind spot. They also help clients stay motivated and see that an obstacle is not insurmountable. It's a future-based modality that focuses on possibilities and fulfilling your vision and goals. So a coaching session helps unravel the limiting beliefs of a client that prevent them from moving forward. In short, life coaching is a partnership to hold clients accountable. Let me know if this would provide any value for any of you, and we can set up a sample session. And that's kind of like...
Can I ask you to do something? Can you keep that open for a second?
Yeah.
Now, I know you just read a summary, which I think sounded fire. Mm-hmm. But can you scroll to this message and just point that to the camera for me real quick?
So, guys, that's a wall of text.
That's a wall of text.
Yeah. We love you, bro. But
love you, Brad.
Love. But no, so I actually have criticisms on it.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Yeah. So and again, this isn't to attack you. Or
no. That's what I'm here. I'm here for your consulting.
But so first off, hello. Fuck that. Like, hey, what's up? Right? Yeah. Like, hey, XYZ. Semicolon. Started. Got an introduction from XYZ. He thought it'd be a good fit for us to connect. I'm a professional life coach, and they thought that it just may make some sense. I'd love to give you a free consulting session. Do you know anything about coaching?
Yeah.
4 or 5 sentences. I freestyled that. I like freestyling emails because that's how I would talk to you.
Right.
I said this on the phone the other day, and I'm not going to say who I said it to, but it's like when I see a fucking email now, so I used to do this when I was like 21, 22, just got into like, you know, hey, I hope this finds you well. Fuck you, dude. Like, nobody says that, bro. Like, if I was in front of you, like, hey, I hope this finds you well.
Yeah,
freak. Yeah, like
you can tell when you're fresh out of school and like
and like, you know, I was doing it maybe up until like a year and a half ago,
right?
And I'm like, I thought it was like I wouldn't respond to this fucking email,
right.
You know? So it's like thinking about it, right? Like if I was reading this, like I do that all the time. I actually just put it down and then pick it back up like an hour later, because when you're dialed in, it's like, oh, this email's gold. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, you're pumped. Right? And then you read it and it's like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like if you sent that to yourself and you opened it with your subject line too. That's the other thing people suck at, subject lines. Right? Like, you know, you guys see when I put a subject line together, it's fun. Right? So it's like
just coming back to like what you had though. Like there was a lot of content in there.
Right.
But you had some fucking gems in there.
Yeah, you
did.
did.
Like when you just hit us with the summary, that was like 4 sentences. You were like, hey, I was introduced to you by Y, thought it would be an awesome fit.
Right.
Do you have experience with life coaching?
Right.
It's a mirror that helps you reflect and get the best value and version of yourself to come forward.
Right.
Would you find value in this?
Or even let's flip that a little bit. How do you make it a story?
Right. Story.
So it's like, hey, do you have any situations in life where you feel you could use some assistance and you don't know who to talk to? Life coaching acts as a reflection of yourself, and this is what we typically do.
Right. And you're able to do this for yourself. Because are you familiar with StoryBrand?
No.
So the general gist of StoryBrand, right, is that people's internal dialogues have themselves as the hero of the story.
Of course.
Right? So when you come in as an expert, and this could be as a coach, consultant, an advisor, a salesman, whoever, whatever position you're in, when you come in as a hero, that you're about to come in and shut shit down and make changes and like close the deal, internally that conflicts with their dialogue. So they're like, yo, wait, I'm the hero.
That's
what
right.
are you talking about?
I even use a better example. So that's a phenomenal example. Have you guys ever gotten a new manager at your company that you're working for? And the first thing they do is fuck everything up.
Yes.
That guy came in as the hero. I'm the hero. I'm going to cut costs. I'm going to do this, that, the third. Meanwhile, you guys were profitable. You were effective. You were productive. Corporate culture was great. Could you use some tweaks? Yeah, absolutely. Every team could use some tweaks. Don't rebuild Rome, bro.
Right.
It was built right the first time.
Right.
So,
I think, and obviously, like within context, we're gonna get somebody to be like, "Oh yeah, well, Rome now has been more advanced," but like it's that concept, right? It's like the Great Wall of China is still standing. It was built right the first time,
right?
So, but like continuing that down the line of the story brand, right? So, when you're coming in like as a coach and someone's doing what they're doing, right? Your best client is probably someone who doesn't think they need a coach. They're probably successful. They're probably making a shit ton of money, so they can pay you a high fee, right? Because you're bringing them a lot of value.
Right.
What you're doing though is you're giving them a way for them to see themselves, right? They're utilizing you to empower themselves and make themselves better and get an angle to see those blind spots.
Right.
You're not doing anything.
No.
They know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
You're giving them a way to do that by utilizing you, the expert and the coach, that's going to bounce that back.
And it's also, in our sessions, right, it was the second layer of accountability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas, like, I'm checking in with you in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that day that I'm checking in with you, yo, what's up on this, and this? Mm-hmm. Yo, I haven't done anything.
Right.
And then you're like, who are you doing this for? Well, I don't remember if you told me this, but like, for example, like, well, who are you doing this for? Are you doing this for me or are you doing this for you?
Right.
I'm doing this for me, right? So like the person being coach, I'm doing this for me.
Exactly.
Damn, man, I'm cheating myself.
Yeah.
You know, my dad used to tell me that all the time. He said, just remember, you're not fooling me, you're fooling yourself.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I understand it now. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. For
Right?
sure.
So it's kind of that same premise, but I think that's really powerful. And the other thing, and you know, I love challenging, and every fucking video I've challenged somebody on at least a couple points.
Yeah, couple.
Yeah.
Get ready.
My challenge for you is, like, think through that whole customer acquisition strategy, right? Organic sounds great in concept. Mm-hmm. It sounds beautiful. Mm-hmm. First off, there's not enough awareness. And the people that are aware already have a great coach. Mm-hmm. So who are you talking to? Are you reaching out to somebody that you know? Well, now you're just limited by the pool that you're in. So if there's only 1,000 fish in your pool, you can only fish 1,000 times.
Right.
And you might not even snag all the fish. Mm-hmm. Right. So just I definitely kind of think through that, and a lot of my sales strategies and tactics, and we spoke about this yesterday, is like for consulting. I'm like, dude, I could actually totally tell you I don't want to work with you because I want to find success. Mm. Like, this isn't done because we need to get paid. This is done because we want to help people. We want to make your company the best company it could be. Mm-hmm. But if I can't do that, it is more detrimental to me than it is to you.
Mm.
Right? We are sharing risk and reward here. Right. So I would kind of challenge you to think through that. And I'm not saying that that's the perfect example, but like, it's not the perfect fit for everybody, and prefacing it with that, but understanding what does good look like, mm-hmm. and having them understand that. You're taking the typical sales strategy that most people, the typical sales environment or engagement that most people perceive, you're flipping it on its head, because the sales guy's like calling you every day. Hey, where's the quote? Where's the contract? Did you get approvals? Like, all this other stuff, like, what's your budget look like? Like, yeah, that's great. Still do that. Right, like, you still have to do that, but do it in a different capacity, under different pretense or context, mm-hmm. and being able to communicate, like, hey, like, it may not be a good fit for you, but I'd at least like to, like, at least explore it. Right. And at the end of the day, the customer is going to be like, hey, I'd love to work with you, and now you're at the liberty to say, well, listen, person J, at this time I have too many clients, and for as much as I'd love to work with you, I think we could do some really good work. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I could take this on. If this is really a high priority for you, I could explore, like, my schedule, mm-hmm. and then at that point, you just increase your price by 25%. Right.
Now, I want to circle back around, because I know we got to be conscious of your time, because I know you're a busy man. You got meetings later today, mm-hmm. but I want to circle back around to something tangible, mm-hmm. that I think you can start doing now, right? So we were talking about LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. We were talking about how you were doing the organic outreach with the messages and stuff, right? And one thing I would challenge you to think about in this context is that those messages are private, right? So it's a social network. You want to get the social leveraging effect mm-hmm, of it. Mm-hmm, okay. So, and stop me if you're already doing stuff like this.
Sure, no, I'm all ears right now.
So I would challenge you to go and look for highly successful people in your network that are talking about successful things they're doing. Mm. Jump in the comments mm-hmm. and bring value there.
Yes.
Hit them with stuff like, this is outstanding. What's next?
Yes. Yeah. I like that.
What's your vision?
Yeah, that's
Where
great.
is this project going to be in 6 months? I want to learn more. Can you tell me?
Yeah, that's
stuff like that. So then now you're making them think about something they're probably not thinking about. They may be on a real high right now. They just did something crazy. You're probably going to be the first person to ask them what they're doing next, right? Like getting that vision going.
Yeah.
And I feel that positions you in a way where now
That's
they're
powerful.
like, oh, this guy's interested. He's interesting. And like you said, it's powerful. Now they want to start that conversation. When they come to your bio, and this is the next thing I want to just like jump at quick, is how you position yourself on LinkedIn. So the most powerful section on LinkedIn is your actual bio description, right? You see like this like a line and a half that shows when they come to your page, but they click read more. That shit could be like 40 pages long. It doesn't have to be, and please don't make it 40 pages. No one can read it.
Yeah, 5 sentences.
But that's SEO optimized. So when people do searches for stuff, that's how you come up based on what's in your bio. So if in there you make interesting content that ties into the content you're contributing on other people's points, they're going to come to you saying,
Right.
can you tell me more about
Absolutely.
what you do? Because now you got them thinking about vision. You got them thinking about how can they better themselves.
Yeah.
Here's someone who's asked them about it and can do that.
Yep.
They're going to want to talk
And
about
that's actually like organic as well.
That's organic.
So
and even with the story, right? Like you're still building that story. You're building a brand online though.
I think what's important too, and touching on what you said, is authenticity. I want to be able to serve people that I am genuinely interested in. So it's making those connections with those people that are movers and shakers, but I'm genuinely interested in what they're bringing to the world. And so it doesn't come off as fake when I'm in their comments. So that's again goes into the organic
bingo.
Yeah, but again, that also kind of goes into what we were talking about earlier with what does your copy look like, right? So copy is like your wording. Like, I hope this finds you well. Like that's not gonna.
Right. Yeah. I probably have a little bit of an outdated copy, and it's probably a lot of this.
Sometimes it's super
old
formal.
way of thinking.
Yeah, sometimes it's super formal. And it's like, keep it fun, bro. Like it's like you're not doing something that's boring,
right?
And you're doing something that's
you're bringing
vulnerable.
value. Yeah,
you're bringing value. Yeah.
And
you don't want to sell yourself.
Like just to think through the customer perspective and like trying to be empathetic with the customer when they're engaging with you. This is a vulnerable position that they're being put in. They're signing NDAs. They're agreeing to this cycle that they've never done before. So you are putting them in a vulnerable position. The more relatable and personable you could be with the person
right
out the gate, it's just going to add more value.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of just goes back to making sure you kind of...
Those are great points, just kind of... and it goes back to... It's funny, but it's very simple. It goes back to... coaching. Coaching is about who you're being.
Yeah.
It's not what you're doing. It's about who you're being.
Yeah.
So sometimes, sometimes we get caught up in the the formalities of things. But if you take a step back and don't do your automatic, because we all have our blind spots, right? And if I didn't do my automatic, and I was being with them via email, the same way I'm being with you guys right now in this conversation, just engagement, that authenticity, and that ease, then it would definitely net the results that I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the people that don't want it, they would be filtered out.
Yeah.
Bingo.
I also, I don't know how you feel about this, but I definitely do this personally.
Here comes something risque.
Yeah, it's definitely a little.
Hide your kids. No,
but this is something I do. When I'm talking to somebody that's a high performer, like somebody that's executing, I drop a F-bomb. I drop a curse word in front of them and I see how they react. I think it's really interesting to see how some people react. Because as soon as you do that, it's like, all right, yep, I can take this out and I can go be myself, right? Like,
right.
You got to, like, I was talking to a guy yesterday, stud real estate broker.
Yeah.
Guy's a beast.
Yeah.
And he's in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
It's like 60-something degrees in New York City. I was walking around, I was sweating yesterday, right? So he was definitely hot. I said, yeah, man, fuck that shit. And his 3-piece suit basically came off, and he had a tank top with, like, shorts, and we were broing it out, right? Like, and maybe it may not work, it may work. I definitely tell you to test it out, test away, and like you got to know your audience too.
Exactly.
But again, it's
awareness too.
It goes back to being personable, and making people feel comfortable. Because if you're super formal, in a very vulnerable capacity, you're not the guy writing my will, bro. Right. You're the guy that's coaching me through.
Right, and it also depends
my
too.
Limits.
Yeah.
It also depends, and every situation is different. So because I have a wide variety of clients that I serve.
This is not going to work for everybody, so don't go drop F-bombs at work.
So it's like
especially not teachers,
and especially if you have and if you have a wide variety of clients that are people that you're helping. Some people may be kind of averse to certain language, and it still may be the type of client you want, but you also have to kind of feel your way through that. It could be right on the spot. You can notice it, and that's where instincts come in which is very important. People don't talk about it enough. Intuition, that this kind of a deeper intelligence that we all have, and kind of knowing when to lean in on that. So that's powerful. With that guy, you leaned in. You knew. You kind of like,
Yeah, I'm not.
And I'm not gonna do. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't I do drop F-bombs with the clients that I do have because we built that relationship. Yeah. But especially as a coach. As a coach, I think it's ethically is super important not to be super formal, but it's supposed to. You have to create a safe space, and you have to assume that the person. That there's several contexts there, so you have to assume that from the jump. You just be like,
Absolutely.
Okay, you gotta and then work, and then from there you can use your intuition, and as you stop, because it's all about building relationship. You have to be able to stand for people from where they are, and meet them where they are, and build relationship, and that's how they can start. When you create that space, that's when they actually can start seeing the possibilities outside of their, automatic stuff.
So I'm gonna go back to your organic customer conversion point. So my thoughts on this, right, kind of falling in line with not enough people knowing what professional coaching is, and then you also being limited by your network. So let's say on LinkedIn shows consistently post that your network likes of other people. Let's cap that network at 10,000, right? So I don't like everything that's posted on my LinkedIn, but I may like things consistently from 5 to 10 people. So capped, let's say you're at 10,000 people of total penetration within a network. You could work that network as much as you want, and you may be able to find some success. I don't know what your conversion rates would be, and that's a conversation for another day, probably off camera. But I would kind of challenge you to, if you really want to get to that point where you're helping really high performing people you just may not have access to, I kind of tell you to think through leveraging some of the content you're looking to create and put out, and put some money behind it. And that may not be a massive revenue generator, but you're bringing a lot of awareness to people, and I feel 100% confident that if you can bring that value to people within content that's digestible and friendly, you will see a lot of success in conversion. And I don't know what your goal on weekly time commitment is for coaching, right? But it could be a way where you could kind of it would run through a funnel, and they could automatically qualify themselves within your website, right? Because you'd have a form, right? So this is what I'm looking for, this is what I do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with a quick little blurb on that person. And if it makes sense, you engage. If it doesn't, you could always refer that out. But I would definitely tell you to think through that, because the problem with organic reach is we're no longer in the age where word of mouth is king. And word of mouth is great, but what happens if people stop referring you? And who's paying your bills? Yeah,
absolutely. I'm a big proponent of content. I love creating content too. Yeah. So I have, I think my gap is I have content, I have stuff tools that I've created. I have all this content. I have all this stuff that is there. And then I have my strategy, my current client retaining strategy, which is like organic reach, outreach, meeting people. So I have that, right? So that's been working for me thus far. And then, but I have all this content. So that's another part of my brand that I'm building, that I'm kind of in the at the end of content creation. Like I could literally right now have a bunch of content up, but I haven't. Yeah. So that's where my gap is. It's like
it's what's stopping you.
It's what's stopping me right now. Yeah.
What is stopping?
What is stopping me? I think the main thing that's stopping me right now is I need to outsource more. I need to delegate more. Because it's a lot of that stuff I don't have the time to dedicate to uploading stuff, to kind of refine my ideas. So I've been working with a digital assistant. I've been working with a digital assistant. I'm at the very beginning stages.
Team, we love our VAs.
Yes.
Gotta make that gang sign.
Virtual assistant.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna build out a VA team one day. Console VAs.
Yeah. So I'm in the very beginning stages of so I've given
It'll
this.
take 3 months to spin that up. It's all right. Don't even trip.
I see. Spin it up.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm working. Right now working with this virtual assistant. Basically, because I also have a music production company that I'm working on, and a lot of the stuff that I actually
Flex bomb right there.
Yeah, there you go, flex.
Beep, 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 beep.
Somebody edit that in.
And this digital assistant actually helped me with a bunch of names and looked up the copyright, the trademark, and all that kind of stuff. So I just send them the data. I send the content. He's just refining the content, like a bunch of ebook that I wrote. Looking grammatically, looking through it, and just kind of helping me through the process, what's necessary. So, a lot of stuff that I don't want to think about is like logistical stuff that I'm kind of in the beginning stages of getting all that stuff outsourced. So it's just like a time constraint because I have my kids. I'm a fully dedicated dad. And I have my relationship, and I do have a couple of things that I'm working on simultaneously, and I'm very big on my well-being as well. So I do take very seriously that kind of that balance, and it's always a work in progress because there's always blind spots. So with that being said, I'm always pretty busy.
Yeah. Let me just jump in here. So, you guys have heard me say this at least 50 times. You've heard me say this hundreds of times. I believe in front-loading all the work. So I think that what you're doing right now is really awesome, right? It's like you're building all your ammunition, you're getting it all together. What you next need to do, don't continue to build, bro. Like, let's get the system.
That's what it is.
Like,
that's what it is. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
When is enough, right?
Right.
I can give you a very clear distinction of when is enough. When is enough is a 3-month content calendar. If you can say, this is the content I'm putting out on this specific cadence.
I have that.
And I will be launching it for 3 months. Like, this is sufficient content for 3 months. All you have to do at that point is identify specific days and then figure out how to schedule it. Depending on what you're using on your website or blogging platform, that's super easy. We could talk through that. It's legit a 15-minute conversation. And your virtual assistant will most likely know how to do that.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing is I've had virtual assistants generate content for me. It's not great. It's not great. So I would definitely tell you, if you're leading the content creation and they're reviewing it, make sure they're only reviewing it for like SEO purposes because they're good for that kind of stuff. Right. But
I'm using them for that SEO as well.
What I would say is make sure you are turning it around and using something that provides infrastructure like a Grammarly. Like, Grammarly is amazing. Link right here. Grammarly is amazing because it's spell check on steroids and it's free. And you can pay for the pro version, which is also phenomenal. But that's a really good platform as well, where especially for content creators, I don't put anything out into the market without running it through Grammarly. Legit. Emails, like a regular email to you, I run it through Grammarly. Right? So
because you can't spell, but I can't spell for shit, honestly.
Yeah. But I was in a spelling bee when I was in 7th grade, bro. So chill. I'm good.
I actually won this. It was funny. No, you say that. I actually won the citywide Spanish spelling bee in New York.
Damn,
New York years ago. When I was like,
what was the?
I'm putting that. Yeah, I put it on my resume for sure.
What was the winning word? Was it puñeta?
I don't know, man. I don't know what to really work. All I know is that was like a huge event in my life at that time. Because I went to citywide. I remember I went from school to the district, and I didn't even study. I was just like district, exactly. And then I went to then I went to citywide. Then I know it was getting serious. And then after the citywide, they put me in the state, and I came in 6th in the state.
That's pretty good.
Well, so just to make sure we get back on track.
Little side note.
The other thing I would say is scheduling and finding softwares that can help you with scheduling. So understanding what are the platforms you want to.
Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation about all of these things with you because I definitely those are the areas that I need help in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then once you have all this stuff set up, get your VA to just put it on, schedule it all, and you just sit back and just be more strategic.
Yeah.
We have this conversation all the time, Dan and I. It's like, take a step back, go be strategic, go back out there in 2 days or a day or whatever it takes.
Right.
Because a lot of times you're just chasing your tail, and it's like, when is enough?
Yeah, I think what it is that I end up getting a large gaps of time where I've created all this content, and then I'm like I've actually had this conversation where a digital assistant hits me up. It's like, oh, what's going on, man? Like, you haven't sent me anything, and then so I build all this content. Okay, got the digital assistant, then I'm working on my, I'm dealing with life stuff, like helping my kids with stuff, and then so I end up getting these gaps of time in between, strategy, content creation, that kind of thing, infrastructure, and execution on the actual, So that's
sounds like you need a coach.
I do have a coach, actually. I have a coach, and this is some of the things that we talk about.
Nice.
Outstanding.
One of the other points I would just kind of make, and I abide by this massively, it's called batching. We've spoken about
batching,
Yeah, and like you set a full day aside for a specific kind of task. So my Thursdays are content creation.
I love that you said that, man. I got a whiteboard
right now.
I got a whiteboard.
I have it in my calendar, so it reminds me the day before. It reminds me at 9 in the morning. It also reminds me 2 days before, so I can make sure I plan.
Yeah, I have it on my phone as well. But everybody has their own thing that works for them. For whatever reason, the whiteboards, having like 4 whiteboards around it in my office, being able to erase stuff once it's done, and whatever notes I have in my head, brainstorming, writing it down, because sometimes I forget an idea. Once it's in the whiteboard, it's like.
You use Trello?
No, but I actually.
Trello is sexy.
Yeah?
I like Trello a lot.
A lot of people told me about Trello.
On Trello.
Yeah, a lot of people told me about Trello.
Fire.
I think I'm going to use Trello because I actually
Trello
downloaded
right here,
it.
guys, Atlassian. We love you guys.
That's just free.
I'm going to download it. I know, actually, I downloaded it, but I just haven't used it yet.
Fuck around with it.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because it's on my. I gotta show you. It's on my fucking picture of my vision board. Is Learn Trello. That's on my vision board. I swear. It's Learn Trello, and I think it's on Skillshare. It's on Skillshare. It's on Skillshare.
Trello it out.
Trello, learning Trello is on actually Skillshare. A site called Skillshare.
Nice.
So I actually have that as a favorite and save. So like when I, on my downtime, I'm gonna go learn that.
Awesome. So we got a ton of really good information. We really appreciate you coming out here. There's a lot of really good content. Guys, we hope you guys learn more about what professional coaches are. But just to keep in line with what we've been doing across the past couple episodes. So just reiterate to the people who you are and why should they care about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Frank Fiol, certified life coach. And the reason you should care about me is that I'm dedicated to help you move your projects forward. I'm here to be with you and stand with you where you are, make you see whatever your blind spots are at, and help you move anything that you are having problems with, move that forward. So, and I'm here to partner with you. Really, that's the main thing, is to partner with you to build and create something that you're actually looking to create and bring a lot of speed and power to that process.
Outstanding.
Awesome. Yeah, love it. All right, brother. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, outstanding.
Again, Brian with Konsole.
Dan Guiney with Konsole. That's a wrap.
Check you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
See what you about. Yeah, cause I'm in it to win it. Stacking my digits. Headshots for critics. I'm here for my millions. Fuck them all. Let the haters die. I'm the realest motherfucker. No blood in my eye. Just sun in my eye. I've been up on the grind. We ain't on the same time. I grew up with no bands. Just a hope and a dream. Now we shining. We clean. Stacking deals. Never repeat. Fuck them all, motherfuck them all. If a hater wanna hate, will my hands still work? If they feeling like they tough, will my gun still squirt? If they wanna call my bluff, call the morgue up first. It don't stop.